Hi, I'm Annie. Contact information is in the description. So I use Kratom. I've been using it since 2017 and I only take it a couple days a month. I like it and it works for me. I use it in a very specific, intentional way. That being said, I can't really recommend it because I've heard so many stories of people that have a horrible experience with it. People that develop terrible addiction to this stuff and they feel trapped by it and they have a hard time getting off of it and they have terrible withdrawal symptoms. Everyone reacts to substances differently, so this video is about my subjective experience. If you're curious about Kratom, I would say just do tons of research before you ever decide to buy it or take it. So from my experience, I can't imagine becoming addicted to it. It doesn't seem possible. Although I've heard all these stories of people being addicted, and so I kind of went down the rabbit hole and watched a lot of addiction videos about Kratom, and now I think I understand it a little better. I still don't think it's going to happen to me, but I do understand that everyone reacts to it differently, and that is a possibility for some people. So I'm going to talk about how I use Kratom very intentionally for healing purposes, and let you know that it's been a positive thing in my life. But I sat on this video for a long time because I was wondering, if people are having a terrible experience with it, is it even responsible to bring attention to Kratom? But it's not like I invented it. It's around. It's out there. Just driving around my town, I see advertisements for it on the street corners next to convenience stores. Maybe you've seen those same signs around your town and you might be curious about it. I'm going to share my experience with it, but I would just caution that you should do a lot of research before trying something like that, especially about dosage. People buy bags of the stuff, this green powder, and it's a natural plant and it's a supplement, and some people take like a whole spoonful. Don't do that. Dosage is very important. Just do your research. So I heard about it in like 2016, 2017, and I'm a curious person, so I wanted to give it a try. So at first I got it in the loose powder form and it tastes disgusting. I've watched a lot of videos about this and I see people like just drinking it in tea, and the people that are addicted to it are just like drinking cups of this stuff all day long. It's so gross. So I don't know how they're doing that. So now I buy it in a bag, but it's these capsules, and they're little capsules like this, 500 milligrams each. So I would take just 2 of these. So that's 1 gram. And then like 4 hours later, I might take 2 more pills. So 1 more gram, 2 grams total in a day. And that's it. I never take it on consecutive days. I don't see the point in taking it on consecutive days because I did that like when I first found it. I took it maybe a few times, like 2 days in a row. There's literally no point. The following day, you don't get an effect from it. Your tolerance builds to it so quickly that I don't even see why you would take it the next day, because it just doesn't do anything, or at least it doesn't for me. I think that everybody's chemistry must be reacting to it differently. Also, if you get the dosage wrong and you take too much, some people get motion sickness. I happen to be one of those people, so that's only happened a few times, and once I understood the dose that was appropriate for me, that didn't happen anymore. Another thing that I do is when I take it, I write it down on a piece of paper because I don't want to forget what time I took it, because if I take 2 more caps too soon, it will make me sick. So in watching a whole bunch of videos about people's addiction experiences, I was shocked by how much they were taking. I didn't realize that anyone was doing that. I wouldn't do that because it would make me sick. I also wouldn't take it on consecutive days like I explained, because it just doesn't have an effect for me. It has an effect when I take it just on an isolated day, and then I don't take it for several days, and then I take it again. So the way that I'm using it currently is I take it about 2 days out of the month, and I take it for PMS. When my hormones are fluctuating a lot, I can feel really agitated and grumpy. It feels like everything's really tedious. The computer seems to update when I have PMS and get all messed up. The printer doesn't work. Everything is hard. And I just have this feeling like, why is everything such a pain in the ass? And that would be a day that I would take it. Really only 2 times in a month. So the last time I took it was February 23rd. That was my birthday. And I took it not only because I had hormone fluctuations, but also because it was my birthday and I wanted to have a nice day. And it does feel good. It's nothing outrageous. It's sort of like caffeine, I guess. Like, say if you cut out caffeine completely, I don't know if you've ever done this, and then you have a cup after like 14 days of not having any coffee, it feels really good. It's like slightly euphoric. Kratom is sort of like that. I would say maybe even a little bit more euphoric. I feel open. I feel like flow states are likely. And I have flow states frequently without Kratom just because I kind of know how to set things up to get into a flow state. As an artist, it's a skill that I find useful to be able to get into a flow state. So I can sort of make it happen. I mean, that's something you can't force. I would say I have flow states pretty frequently, but taking the Kratom just kind of like amplifies that and ensures it. So I took it on my birthday, had a great day, made a bunch of ceramic jewelry, and it was fun. So it makes me feel open, focused, optimistic, productive. I can usually get a lot of work done when I take it. But just because those things are true doesn't mean that I would take it every day or that I would take copious amounts of it. With this drug, I feel like less is better. More isn't better. More doesn't even really do anything. But here's what I really want to talk about. When I first found Kratom, I used it in a really specific way. I tried it out the first time and I thought, I feel pretty good. I feel kind of open. I feel more optimistic than usual. And so I had this idea, what if I use this drug specifically to practice having a good day? And you can do this without any substances. What I really want to talk about here is this idea of practicing having a good day. So I used to have kind of an automatic habit of pessimism, automatic negative thoughts, just kind of being in a pissy mood a lot of the time. But I had enough consciousness to recognize that that was a habit. Negative thinking is a habit. Positive thinking is a habit. Having one bad day after another is really a habit. We all have circumstances in our life that might be more challenging or less challenging, but every person has a decision to make every day to choose the mood they're going to have while they're navigating their day. Over and over again, I was choosing negativity and choosing to have a bad day, and I just didn't want to do that anymore because I grew out of it, because it's miserable. So I designed this practice of having a good day. I would set aside a day, usually a day off when I had no obligations at all, and I would not do any of the things that would normally trigger me. I would go ahead and set up the day to be good by planning a day when I'm doing things that I generally enjoy, things that are generally relaxing. So for me, a lot of times that's creating something. So I might spend the day sewing, making a dress for myself, or working on ceramic jewelry. And then I would also take the Kratom just to give me that little bump to get into that space of flow and euphoria. The only goal for the day was to have a good day all day long. And anytime negative thoughts would pop up, I would just notice them and go back to having a good day. It might sound kind of silly, but I actually had to practice this in a very conscious way. So for maybe a couple years, I would take the Kratom a little bit more frequently, but really not more than 2 times a week, usually only 4 times a month. Just have like one really good day, do this practice, totally enjoy myself, have a good time, feel peaceful, feel productive, and make the one goal of the day to just not get frustrated, not get upset, not go negative. Well, after doing that for a while, very quickly, I just started having more and more better days. There was no need to take Kratom. I was just having a better mindset, really. That's how I use it. I mean, clearly some people are getting into a dangerous position with this. So I don't want to promote something that is harmful to people, but at the same time, we're all adults here. You can do your research. It's legal. And I kind of feel like just with a lot of substances, it might be okay in moderation. But if you are prone to addiction, or you're prone to believing that more is better, I would say maybe stay away from this stuff, because in this case, more isn't really better. So I wouldn't be taking like big heaping tablespoons of it every day, like several times a day. I just don't think it's a good idea. And I've seen people go down a really bad path with that and like actually feel totally addicted, like trapped by it. And some of the withdrawal symptoms that they described really surprised me. I just didn't realize that that was possible for this plant. You know, I guess it is if you take that much of it. So anyway, that's my experience with it. Take it with a grain of salt. If you're curious about it, absolutely do tons of research. Consider the good day exercise if that sounds like it would be helpful to you. And also remember that you don't need any extra substances to have a good day. I mean, for me, it helped me in the beginning to focus that intention and gave me that little lift to make me feel a little bit more euphoric on those days that I had set out to have a really awesome day. But now I have awesome days all the time and I don't need the stuff. I'm glad that it's there just for PMS, or sometimes it can help me a little bit if I have a atmospheric pressure headache, but I really limit it and I don't even really think about it. Like I don't crave it. if I have those hormone fluctuation feelings, then I'll remember it. Like, oh yeah, why don't I take some Kratom? So yeah, that's it. That's what I have to say about Kratom. Let me know if you've ever tried it, if you have any thoughts on it, and do your research before you try it.